into the equation for me.
I'm gonna go with the acid.
Right, tell the other story that you totally believe this as a true story, don't you? The fella with the being killed.
Right, do you know how the other week we were talking about some fella who had his head cut off? And he said, when my head goes into the basket, I'm gonna blink a lot, see how many times I can blink.
But if you remember, when Karl first told me that, it was, I think it was Simon or, Nick that pointed out, he goes, no, that's not quite right, Karl. Karl told me it, that he had his head cut off, and when his head was in the basket, it looked up and said, count how many times I blinked.
Yeah,
but he believed that as well. So he was happy, he was happy with that.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean?
So yeah, a couple of weeks ago there was a guy, he had his head cut off, and before he had it cut off, he'd said, I'm gonna blink to show that there's life after death,
and he did 32 blinks, right?
Sure.
So, you two were sort of putting that down the other week.
we were sceptical of that.
So, I looked again
on the internet?
At some other website.
Yeah.
And there's a guy...
Sorry, it's the website, just to clarify, the website is the place where you bought that property on the moon, didn't you? Because it was a bargain.
Right. So, this guy...
Been gazumped.
Look, we'll see who's been gazumped when this world ends. I've got somewhere to go, alright? And I know you'll be calling me up, saying, oh, can I come with you?
Haven't you got like 2 square foot?
No, I've got acres.
You're gonna have to stand deadly still on the moon in your 2 square foot.
I've got about 20
There's no
acres.
place for Suzanne, it'll just be you. I'm off, love.
It's all those people with big heads and web feet that've been buying it all these years.
Well, listen, right.
Go on.
Anyway.
Play a record, tell us the story after it. We've been chatting for
sorry, Karl, no, there's no record.
Play a tune, we'll come back with this. What's this, another ghost story?
Let's play one of my favourite songs of all time, because I'm going on holiday and getting into a lovely, serene mood. Sorrento is probably from that. It's Neil Young, After the Gold Rush.
Beautiful. Still to come, that competition as well, look forward to that, Karl's quiz.
Yeah. What an amazing track that is.
Tune, yeah.
Neil Young,
Dynamite.
After the Gold Rush. So go on, Karl, sorry, go on, Karl.
So let's take us back a few steps, Karl. What's the story?
Right, so I did some research. Right.
Let's just recap again. There was a guy you read about who had his head chopped off, he was guillotined.
Yeah.
He had said to the people around him, I am going to blink once I've had my head cut off to show
the brain
that
can still...
Or the brain can continue to work after death. Okay, so yeah, we queried that.
So you weren't having any of it?
Well, no, possibly for a few seconds, till the oxygen stops being fed to the cells because the blood has drained away. But, you know, nothing spectacular. So
right,
go on.
Well, along the similar sort of lines, right? This is quite a few years ago. This fella sort of upset the royal family doing something, right? So they said that this isn't good.
Wasn't Ben Outland at that Jubilee thing, was it?
I can't remember what it was, and they said, right,
that was terrible.
We're gonna cut your head off. You know, you gotta show people that you can't be doing what you've been doing.
What was this, the 1970s? Well, when you say a couple of years ago, you mean maybe sort of...
Was it the olden days when the phones weren't very good?
Ages ago.
Yeah.
Ages ago, sure.
So, so yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
So...
Very philosophical.
Yeah, imagine that, when you wasn't here
Take your head off.
This was literally ages ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Simon Sharma's History of Britain.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, so, and even before that, which is yonks before, when it was all mental and different. Sorry, Karl, go on.
So he's having his head cut off, and he's resigned to it.
It's the day before, he's kind of got it into his head now that I'm not gonna have my head, much longer.
Sure.
So he said, let's make use of this.
Yeah.
He said, I wonder how long, like, the body can stay alive without my head on it, right? So they were like, oh, I don't know. So,
who were?
So...
The jailers?
Whoever he was asking.
These jailers with one eye.
Yeah.
Get out, pants.
So he said,
no, wait a minute, I've got an interesting scientific experiment, jailer. Well, fair enough.
What is it?
So, he said, what I want to do, right, he said, you know, surely it's my last right, you know, I'm gonna be dead tomorrow. Sure. So, let's do a test.
He didn't draw it out this long, did he?
Yeah, he said, let's test this out, you know, he said, do us a favour. He said, you know, it's my last day, what I want you to do is, you're gonna cut my head off, let's put a white line on the floor.
Right. And
see if, you know, because there's no point asking how far he can sort of walk without an head if there isn't a line, because you don't know what to count, do you know what I mean? If it's just, if he loses his head and he's running around all over the place, you can't really count
That's not impressive enough, yeah.
So they said, let's make a white line.
Sure.
Yeah. Who said this? He did or they did?
I think they started to join in with him and saying, well, let's make this a...
Sure. You guess it, go on.
So,
they got Norris McWhirter down. The Guinness people.
Oh. Yeah.
So they said, let's get this white line.
Yeah.
And,
dedication's all you need.
We'll do this tomorrow. And he said, alright, I'll see you in the morning.
Yeah. So I'll see you in the morning. Night night, sleep tight. Bye bye.
I love the fact that Carl knows exactly what was said. Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, he doesn't know the story or what order it is in or when
but
it
he
was.
knows exactly what
or
was
who's
said.
in what, but he knows the intricacies. Alright then, see you in the morning. Bye, little kissy, kissy, kissy. Oh, I'm not like that. Oh, you joker.
Don't let the bed bugs bite.
Yeah, anyway.
So he gets up.
Do you want a paper tomorrow? No, I'm alright. Go on.
He gets up and they say, right, you know, today's the day and that. And he said, well, you know, I've got used to the idea. So here's a white line for you.
Got used to the idea. Go on.
So they go, right, you ready then? And he said, I go on. And they cut his head off. And the body walked 32 steps without a head.
Wow.
32 steps.
Incredible.
And that's the lesson, really.
Did it get as far as it walked along the white line, did it?
Yeah, it stayed along the white line, did 32 steps, and then started to stumble a bit, and it just fell over.
Yeah,
But, you know, it was a test that your body can still keep alive for a little bit.
Yeah.
When you've lost your head.
Absolute twaddle. Absolute twaddle.
What do you reckon you can do then without an head? How many steps?
Nothing.
There'd be muscular spasm, right?
Yeah. It would twitch a bit.
It would, yeah. You could not distinctly take 32 steps. The body well, don't...
Yeah.
Is the doctor still on the line?
Yeah.
The fella that bought 6 parrots.
Yeah.
And, you know, you could
Incredible.
have 32 steps.
Right, so
A
you don't
beheaded
believe
man
that.
doing a bit of line dancing.
Right, you don't believe that, but something that you do believe that a cockroach can live a week without an head.
It can. Slightly different kettle of fish there.
Why?
Wow, insect to, human is what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
That difference.
there's not that much difference in
Well, of
some
course there
insects. Do you know that a snake has a heart and lungs and kidneys and stuff?
Go on.
No, well, I'm just saying.
So?
You're making out as if, like, they're a totally different, like, being.
Species. I am making that up. I mean, call me
Rick,
old-fashioned.
Do you know what you're talking about, mate? I don't want you embarrassing yourself, Rick.
Yeah, I am suggesting they're totally different beings. Yeah, that is, yeah. Now, Carl...